Hi, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk to you about increasing your flow experience. Over the past 2.5 years, we've heard a lot about flow and what it feels like to be in flow or out of flow because of what we experienced during the pandemic. Returning to safety, returning to survival mode sometimes, and just trying to get by. And now we are in an increasingly opening space, and some people are curious about returning to activities that they used to do. Some people are full into that. There's some anxiety, there's some hesitation, there's some happiness anxiety. However, I do want to emphasize that it is important to do what lights you up and to find some flow, get back into that feeling of flow. In psychological terms, flow is a mental state in which a person is fully immersed in a feeling of energized, focused while performing. Maybe it's a challenging activity. People more commonly call this, being in the zone. You've heard about that. Some psychologists, psychotherapists feel that when people have frequent experiences of flow, preferably 3 to 4 times a day, you actually experience more positive emotions as well as a sense of well-being and purpose. So flow is the feeling in which even difficult tasks or tasks that are outside of our comfort zone, they can become easy. Have you ever been doing something and you completely lost track of time because you are so involved in the activity? As a runner, we often call this runner's high, for example, even when we're running long distances, and it can become almost effortless. Some people experience this flow gardening or working on their car or doing a crossword puzzle or painting a beautiful picture. Some people are lucky enough or fortunate enough to experience flow during their work, during their daily work responsibilities. Sonia Lyubomirsky, in her book, The How of Happiness, she writes, the experience of flow leads us to be involved in life rather than be, detached or alienated from what we're doing. We're in the present moment when we're in flow. We enjoy the activity rather than finding it boring or dreary. We have a sense of control rather than feeling vulnerable or helpless. And to feel a strong sense of self is very important rather than unworthiness. So all of these factors create a life with meaning, and this tends to lead to richness, intensity, and happiness. And happiness is a state, right? We flow in and out of it. So flow helps us find it again, return to it. You will know you are experiencing flow when, one, you completely feel involved in what you're doing, you're completely focused on what you're doing. Two, there's a sense of great pleasure as you perform a flow task. You feel outside of your everyday reality. Three, there's a sense of inner clarity. You know what needs to be done, and you get immediate feedback on how you're doing. And that could be just from self-evaluation, not necessarily from an outside source. Four, you know that the activity is doable, even if it may be difficult. You have what Brené Brown calls grounded confidence. So even if you make a mistake, that's okay. You're going to learn from it. But for now, you may have the necessary skills to complete the task successfully. Five, you lose your sense of self. You kind of get, wrapped up in this the nice flow, and your worries kind of drift away. Six, there's a possibility that you lose track of time because you're completely focused in the moment, as I mentioned earlier. And seven, there's an intrinsic motivation. It comes from inside yourself, not necessarily from an outside reward. So whatever you're doing to produce flow, it comes with its own reward from inside of you. So the feelings of flow are like a natural high. In fact, your brain does produce chemicals that make you feel high, including endorphins, which are naturally found in THC. This is a chemical responsible for that, buzz that marijuana produces. So think about, what's missing in your life, what things perhaps you did before that you could re-engage, that light you up and can bring more flow into your life. Perhaps take a journal and start tracking this. You can pay attention. You can list hobbies that you feel produce a sense of flow for you. You can list challenging activities that produce flow, such as crossword puzzles, Scrabble, anything like that you might really like. Also list exercises or physical activities that produce flow for you. It's so important that we move and move every day. Lastly, list any cleaning, organizing activities that produce flow for you as well. So actually anything that did before or that you're curious about in the future. So I hope that this was helpful for you today as you perhaps reflect on what you could do for yourself. And remember, action precipitates motivation. We would, if we wait to be motivated, we sit around all day. We sit around. We have to actually start an activity, engage in the activity before motivation kicks in. So let's pause and consider, how can you bring more flow into your life? Bye for now.